Shalom and hello. This is Sister Victory. Blessings to saints of the Most High. Blessings to all my sisters. Sisters, ladies, there's a topic I want to discuss today. And I hope that, I don't see a lot of people leave comments, but I hope that you will share your comment on this one. Today I want to discuss masculinity and how men are often putting women down for being masculine. From a man's point of view.
Nobody wants a good woman until that good woman requires you to be a good man. Men claim they want a good woman, but when they get her, they don't know what to do with her. See, some of these men want so much, but the energy isn't reciprocated. And then when she questions you about your actions, you try gaslighting, and you blame her for being a strong woman or tell her that she has masculine energy. Well, maybe you just aren't man enough for her to show her soft, feminine side.
They're dogging women and saying awful things about them because they are independent women and strong women. But you don't often hear them discuss why these women are like that. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to discuss why so many women have masculine traits. Okay? There's a lot of reasons that are not talked about. People always talking about problems with people, but nobody talks about why. Very few people address the reasons why or what could have happened to cause this. So today I'm going to talk about what can cause women to be masculine. There's numerous things to cause them to be masculine. I really don't believe in my heart that little baby girls are born and they just decide to be masculine. That they don't decide to be pretty and gentle and tender as girls were created to be. There was things that took place in their lives as babies, as children, all the way up into their young adult, teen years. And so we can go on. So one of the things I'm going to discuss, first of all, one big thing is I remember growing up when I was a child, my mother would often say, you girls this, you girls that, you girls get on my nerves, you girls are, cows, just name calling about girls. A lot of negative things said about you being a girl. That's one thing I definitely experienced, and that's really a curse. It's really a generational curse that calls mothers being against the daughters. And we know the Bible talks about that, how your enemies are the foes of your own household. And so you have mothers that are against their daughters. You have daughters that's against their mothers. And they put the boys on a higher pedestal. Or, and that's kind of how it was in my house. My brother always got praised, and the girls were really not praised that much. We were kind of put down a lot. So that's one way that you can make a girl feel bad about being a girl. Okay, so then you have the situation where, some of the reasons of the female being masculine is an absent parent, an absent father in the home, absent uncles, absent grandfathers. There was not really a good role model of a male. Okay, and then some of us who had the male role models that we did have, they were alcoholic, drunks, womanizers, abusers. So these were all bad examples of a male figure in our lives from day one. And that can take a toll on a little girl growing up and her image of what the male figure looks like. Also, having an absent male figure in the home, just not being there from day one. So she learns early that a man is nothing she could depend on. A maybe abusive father. Maybe he beats her mother or beats the siblings, So she learns to be afraid and not to be able to trust the male at a young age. You also had a situation which is terrible, but it happens, where young little girls are raped at a young age by a male. And so you got that going on. I know my daughter, that is now deceased, uh, she experienced that at 5 years old, being raped by a family member's family, a family member of mine, his family through marriage. One of their married. I'm not going to say any names, but he molested her while she was only 5 years old, and so that that can cause issues with a female having an idea of a good example of what a man looks like. Okay. Also, you have a male being a coward. Being a coward, a male that doesn't stand up for you, protect his family. He bow down to other men, even when other men are telling him wrong. Coward men that listen to other men telling him to mistreat his wife or his girlfriend or his children. He abandoned his children. Just this gives a girl a bad sense of a male figure early on in life. You also have, you know, an irresponsible male figure in the young girl's life. He who doesn't provide the little girl and her family. They're not reliable, not dependable. These can apply to little boys as well. Some of these things can apply to little boys as well. When girls grow up and they date awful men, that can be an issue too. Um, when they grow up and they date awful men, and so their idea of a man has just really been uh, negligent. It has not been positive. It has been just something that she can't look forward to. And she experienced this as a young girl. So some of these things can make a female grow up being masculine because she learns and develops in her early years from the beginning that she could not depend on a man. Even when we look at the beginning of the earth with Adam and Eve, we see Adam dropped the ball on Eve because there ain't no way. Now, ladies, you tell me this. There is no way that Adam could have been spending that much time with Eve because the serpent was able to beguile her in the first place. He was able to deceive her. Now, especially the older women. I know the younger women are a little bit more promiscuous and, you know, their mind thinking is different. A lot of, not all of you young women, but a lot of the younger women, kind of, they're comfortable with just sleeping around and being promiscuous. But back in maybe women from the 50s, 60s, 70s, I think they didn't start to get real promiscuous till the 70s, but women back then were ladies. In 40s, 20s, 30s, they were ladies. They were more ladylike, unless they were whores in a whorehouse. They were more ladies, and they were only comfortable with dealing with that one man that they were sleeping with, their husbands or whatever. And so there would be no way that it would have been easy for this other man to beguile Eve with those men kind of having, that spirit of protecting and watching over the woman, and the woman learning to trust only that man. So Adam had to have dropped the ball and was not being responsible and taking head and authority over Eve in the beginning, or she would have never been beguiled. Okay, so there's a lot of reasons that women are masculine. They learn to be masculine because they learn that they can't depend on a man. The man always dropped the ball on them. They have always dropped the ball on them. A lot of times, little girls grow up and watching their mom do everything, having to depend on nobody. The men were always not responsible. She was never able to depend on him, trust in him. He say he gonna do something, wouldn't do it. Say I'm gonna pay the light bills. You sitting in the dark. Just dropping the ball everywhere as far as responsibility. And this also can cause women to become masculine. Most women that became masculine wasn't because they wanted to. I really believe that. It wasn't because they just wanted to be masculine. There were things that taken place that brought this woman to that point. Just like I don't believe most men that are homosexuals because they just wanted to be a homosexual. I don't believe that. I believe something took place in their younger childhood years. And most of the time is they were violated, sexually violated. Another male figure violated them at a young age. And it doesn't start out, rough or hard or whatever. They groom them. They do things for them. They act kind to them, and they slowly bring forth uh, that perpetration on this child. And so then that child, you know, there's a soul ties that develops, and that where they went into that child, and now that child believes he is supposed to be this way. So things happen to us as children that cause us to do things that just aren't normal, aren't right, isn't the way that the Most High planned it to be, but it's circumstances that causes these things. We have to understand that, you know, there are things that happen that weren't good for us, but if we serve and love the Lord, He said He will make all things work together for your good. Hallelujah. And I'm so grateful for that. He will make things work together for our good. Also, when men drop the ball and women can't depend on them, it causes the woman to possibly feel a superiority over the man. She feels I'm better than him. He's always dropping the ball. I can't depend on him. I have to depend on myself or other women. You know, that can cause a girl watching her mom always had to be the responsible one to say, "Hey, I'm going to learn to depend on women rather than men." We have a high rate now of men not wanting to work. Young men, men that are healthy, not sickly, they just don't want to work. They don't want to provide for their homes, their families, their children. And so the woman has to take that responsibility on and work. Now, there's still a lot of good men that are out here. I'm not referring to all men, and nor am I male bashing. I'm just addressing, I'm tired of hearing men bash masculine women when they're not addressing why they're like that. Let's just tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Hallelujah. That's what I believe in. Let's tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So, that can cause a woman to be masculine. When the man is not responsible, he doesn't work, take care of his family. He's a drunk, an alcoholic, a bum. Expects the women to do everything. Just you got some men that's just so awful. They won't even try to please a woman in the bedroom. They that selfish and lazy and just don't care. So it's it has. cause women and from dealing with these type of men to become masculine, not because she wanted to, because she had no choice. What are you supposed to look at your children and say, "Oh well, your daddy's won't be providing for you, so you just can't eat today. You don't have a roof over your head." Any good, righteous woman, any woman that loves her children and conducted herself as a good mother, she's going to get out here and make a way. She's not going to wait on this sorry sack of a man who keeps dropping the ball. And she's just going to get up, pull her bootstraps up, and take care of her business. When a woman experiences uh, a man that's masculine, and we know according to the Bible, the men are supposed to be the head. But how does a woman handle that when the man is supposed to be the head according to the scriptures, but he's not lining up with that? He's the head in giving her directions or telling her what to do or what he wants, his pleasures. But when it comes to being responsible, the responsible part, like providing, paying some bills, working, taking care of the house on the outside, just things that need to be done. Make sure you got the car taken care of, or whatever. Just things that man should be doing. And especially when you got the kind of man that's such a coward that you got to be the one to take up for your household because he won't. He bow down to any man or woman that come in his face, but he'll get in your face and talk smart and talk nasty and try to tell you what to do. Women will lose respect for this kind of man. Real women will. We will lose respect for this type of man. And these are things that help promote masculine women. Okay? There was an old saying that back in the day, men was, men were responsible. I remember even my stepfather, he wasn't the greatest, but I will say he got up every day and he went to work. He came home and he didn't come home and get on video games and sit on his tail. He came home, he would go to the back, start working in the yard, fixing things around the house. If it was cabinets busted, broke, whatever, he took care of that. Whatever needed to be done in the house. Then he'd come in and he wash his hands and get dinner. He'd eat. Then he'd go shower, go to bed, and do the same thing the next day. A lot of times a lot of men nowadays, if they work at all, they feel like once I clock out, it's time to sit on my behind. I ain't got nothing else to do. They don't go do any extra. They don't look around and see what needs to be done around the house. Just a whole different breed of men. And this also creates masculine women because now she has to figure it out. Even the word command, excuse me, even the word tells us about and warns us about these type of men. 2 Thessalonians 3:10 says, "For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat." I see a whole lot of men, know a whole lot of men eating and ain't working. I mean eating good. Some of these men eating better than you and you work every day. Some of these men going on maybe more vacations than you do and you work all year long and you can't even barely afford a vacation. Something wrong with that. And this breeds masculine women. I'll do it myself. I can't depend on you. You're not going to be there for me. I'll do it myself. And some of these women go as far as wanting to be the man themselves. Wanting to be the man themselves. And so that's when they take on that lesbian or homosexual spirit. Because now, along with the rape, of course, along with those things taking place, even girls molesting them while they're young helps promote these things. But I'm talking about right now, I'm just referring to just women that have a masculine spirit because they've had to fend for themselves. And not all women have what you would say masculine, but just strong women. Every woman, men will put you down for being strong, but they're not saying why you have to be strong. Because I can't depend on you. Because you won't be strong. Somebody got to be strong. You want to be weak, so I got to be strong. I have a family to provide for. Because you decide you don't want to, I have to still do it. Paul said in 2 Thessalonians 3, 1 and 2, and I'm going to just paraphrase this. Paul is asking for prayers that the Lord may have free course for Christ to be glorified. 2 is where Paul is because he recognized that there were unreasonable and wicked men who had not had not the faith in the Lord. And so I'm just paraphrasing those 2 verses in Thessalonians. Basically that's what happened. He's recognized it's wicked, unrighteous, unholy, unthankful men. These were kind of men we have. Even back then. And it was better men back then than there are now. At least it was more of good men back then than you see now today. And now a lot of the men want to be a woman like you. They want to switch roles. So just remember, some of you men that talk about the masculine women and you're straight men, you're kind of acting like the transgender men or whatever, because you still not wanting to take the role of a man. You're just not putting a dress on to do it. So sisters, remember that about your men. Pray for them. Pray for them, pray for them, pray for them. That's what I say, pray for them. And last, I'm going to leave Proverbs 22:6 says, train up a child in the way they should go. When they grow old, they won't depart from it. When a father abandons or exhibits bad behavior and irresponsible behavior towards a child in front of a child, this can really damage that child as a person. And this is why we can have girls that grow up to be masculine. Because a male figure dropped the ball on them at a young age, which enabled them, forced them to take on that role as the breadwinner, head of the house, over the children. And that's one I hear too, where a man talking about a woman she want to control the children. And you do have that in some cases. But a lot of cases, it's not that the woman want to control the children. If the man would do his part, if he would be responsible and do a good job at it, I ain't talking about just controlling a child, but I'm talking about being actually responsible. Keeping your wicked fantasies and things that you like doing that's wrong anyway, but that's what you like doing. You don't have to exhibit that in front of the children, but so many men do. That's just like Dominique. When she was 9 years old, her father, when she would go visit over the weekend with him, had guns up under her pillow. Guns under the pillow, in the bed that she slept in. And she told me twice when this happened. I addressed him. I even the second time addressed his wife as well, hoping that she'd have enough sense to help do something about it. See, women, that's the problem with women. That's so sad that when we see this ignorance in some of these men, when we see this foolishness in some of these men, instead of you being a helpmate and trying to talk to him and stop him from doing these things, at least consider it, you go along with it too. You go along with the same foolishness. And I'm just saying, it has to stop. It has to stop. I'm gonna be done with the video. Be encouraged, sisters. You know, if you have daughters, young women, you have daughters, encourage them. Encourage them to be sweet young ladies, strong women. They need to be strong because they may not be in the way the society is going. If you have younger children, it may not be many men left for your daughters because they all want to be girls themselves. And they're teaching them this. So train your daughter to love herself, first of all. But you got to realize that we learn our first, like you say, your skin is your first line of defense. Your parents are your first line of defense. And I'm telling you, the worst thing that can happen is, and because I've experienced it over and over again, when you're trying to train your children right and be a good example to them, and there's a wicked father lurching around teaching them something else different, I guarantee you, all the efforts that you put in to teach this child right, with that wicked father being a part of their lives, it would affect them more. So I'm saying you have much teaching, much being an example in front of that child to prevent some of these things from happening. And first of all, fasting and praying. Bless you, sisters. Shalom.